Welcome back to the Geek View, guys. My name is Quincy and this is Jeremy, and we're here to talk about what to expect for Stranger Things Season 4. The trailer just came out and we all had a good time watching it.
You've broken everything. Your suffering is almost at an end.
Was there anything that you saw that kind of, I guess, was unexpected, like things that you didn't expect?
Hard to say. I don't know. I didn't know what I actually don't have any expectations. Like I like the show, but this is one of those things where it's like you don't really know. I don't know how it's supposed to end.
Well, the good thing about Season 4 is that it's not going to end.
Well, I mean, I don't know how the series is supposed to end. Like, I don't know what direction they're going.
That is true. You know, I was watching the entire trailer. I watched it actually several times now.
Yeah.
Probably upwards of 6. Every single season, they bring on a new type of enemy or demon, right? They had the Demogorgons, the Demodogs. Then they had the Starcourt, like, big-ass monster. And it's all from Dungeons & Dragons. So they're saying that this villain, you know, that kind of comes from the shadows is also from Dungeons and Dragons too.
What's his name? Or do they have a name for it?
Vecna, Vecna. Vecna. I played Dungeons and Dragons, and we actually talked about Dungeons and Dragons because of Vox Machina.
Yeah.
But we've never encountered this enemy before. I mean, I don't know if that's a different version. You know, I play with my friends and it seems like all the pre-planned campaigns, you know, have these different characters. And, you know, I have no association with them, but Vecna supposedly is going to be the big bad for Season 4.
I can see that because, like, Season 1 was like the Demogorgon. Season 2 was like the Mind Flare, right? Or something similar to that.
It was the Mind Flare. That's what it was called.
Oh, it was the Mind Flare.
Monster is Starcourt. It's like, I
was going to say Mind Flare or Cthulhu.
Well, going back to the trailer, we see, you know, a split up group. You know, the buyers are now in California with 11 because they do believe that Harper is gone. And, you know, we know, you know, in the trailer that he's not gone. And
well,
then
I feel like we already knew since like the ending of Season 3.
Right. They talked about the American, right? And the Season 3 said, oh, not the American. And you're like, oh, how did you get him?
Yeah. Like a little teaser at the very end of Season 3, we're in Russia.
Exactly. And then furthermore, we leave the rest of the other members in Hawkins. And you know, everyone's grown up now. Everyone who was little kids, 4 years of their lives.
They are still kids.
And they look a lot older. And then, right, you were saying that 3 years, it's been 3 years since we've seen Season 3. And so they're older. They're growing, you know, experts galore.
They are older. 3 years older.
Right. For me, when I watched the trailer, it really reminded me of It. When they go into the house at the very end as kids, you know, they have the eerie, you know, haunted mansion, you know, there's the clocks, and this seems to be the source of, you know, the enemy's power. Yeah. We do see clips of Mike visiting, it seems like 11 at the roller rink. And then Mike, of course, is in Hawkins. And then, of course, you know, 11 of them are in California. So you see them kind of coming back. So probably during the summer, they must have visited them. You know, all the Stranger Things shows have released at pretty significant dates. You know, the first 2 were close to Halloween. And then the 3rd season was, of course, 4th of July. So we're thinking, you know, with the May 27th release, you know, that's the first part. I can't believe they're splitting it into first 2 parts.
Well, 2 volumes, yeah.
2 volumes. Like, whatever happened to the good old days of Netflix just being a binge-worthy watch? Like,
I'm sure you can still binge watch it.
You can still binge watch it, but I feel if you have a Netflix subscription, you're probably going to wait until the second part comes out. And it's probably their way of getting more subscribers, especially if you're like Game of Thrones, right? HBO Max. You sign up for the season, you cancel after the season, and you come back when the season comes back.
Yeah.
So I believe what they're hoping to do, because the first part comes out May 27th and the second part comes out July 1st. And I was going to follow us back onto 4th of July, like how it did for season 3.
I feel like after day one of every Netflix show, it spikes in popularity and like everyone's talking about it for like the first week, and then like the week after or the month after, really there's like barely anyone talking about it anymore because everyone's binge watched the entire show within that first week.
Right. Yeah, and the problem with me is sometimes I watch the show later than most people. I'm not. Sometimes depending on the show, I will not watch it the day of or the week of, and you fall behind. Like with my mom, she watches shows like right away because she's retired, and then I'm 2 weeks later, and then she doesn't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm like, oh my god, this happened, and she's like, I'm watching another show now, so that's okay. There's particular scenes that stood out to me for the trailer as well. The Max visits Billy's grave, and then she visits it with the guys, and then she's floating in the air. So I don't know if she's being possessed or if she's being grabbed by a demon, or maybe 11 hates her. Maybe 11's like, I'm gonna choke you.
Didn't 11 like lose her powers in the last season?
She did, yeah. And they do talk about that in the trailer as well, like as a friendly reminder.
Yeah.
With one of the investigators asking her to help them fight this war. It's hard to tell what the war may be.
I didn't even know that there was a war to begin with.
Well, they were saying in 1986, that was roughly around the time of the Cold War and the war between Russia and, of course, which, I mean, you know, we're not going to talk about it here, but, you know, the whole Ukraine and Russia thing. But it's very unusual how timely this release is in terms of most of the scenes that involve Harper are showing what, you know, the Russian experiments, what's happening in Russia, and of course a very strong Russian backdrop. And then of course you have the 3 people who are split across 3 different areas. So it'll be interesting to see how this story kind of plays together, especially since before they were all together and now they're all separated.
True. I mean, well, it looks like they're all going to be like reunited back in Hawkins, right? Because it feels like that's like the staging ground for pretty much every battle and every outcome.
I was gonna say that too. It's like, isn't that how everything turns out, where everyone's on these crazy journeys? I remember, you know, with Harper, and then of course the mom, Winona Ryder. They were walking through a forest and ended up in a 7-Eleven and getting Slurpees.
Yeah.
By the way, product placement is so amazing with Stranger Things. The Eggos in season 1, and then they have the Slurpees that they associated with another person. And that's
because that's supposed to be like the time period of like the 80s, right? But I'm guessing like that was like the lifestyle back in the early to late 80s, was like the Slurpees and the Starcourt malls. Because I think that was like what it was like a little bit in the 90s. And then we went into the 2000s, and none of that mattered. Stranger
Things just shows that the 80s were a pretty good year.
For who?
Well, for the kids, I guess. No. For television, for innovation.
Was it? Doesn't seem like it was that much.
Everything in these days is just all a blur. Like, you know, TV shows come and go so quickly. Before, when they used to do weekly releases, and then of course 23 episodes, you were having people talk about it for years, you know, like a whole year.
But they were then again, those were like 20 to 30 minutes only.
That's true. Actually, though there were shorter formats.
So actually, the running time is pretty much the same, really, since then.
Because there's no commercials. There's actually no commercials.
Yeah, and there's also less I wouldn't say less. I mean, no commercials. There are plenty of commercials.
Netflix has no commercials.
Not Netflix, but I mean, just I guess in general.
Those pop-up ads, Interstellars, YouTube. Get YouTube Premium, guys. Not sponsored.
Yeah, and like Hulu is notorious for that kind of stuff.
They have a whole bunch of ads, and I feel like they stacked a few more ads onto it.
Probably.
Like they did before they were just doing 1 ads in between X amount of time. Now they do 3 stack, 1 of 3, 3. And I
yeah, I mean, Well, that I think Hulu's the only one where I pay. I still have to pay a monthly price and still get ads.
That's weird, right? Like, how is it that I pay for you to serve me ads? Continuing the trailer, we do see Harper in Russia, as we talked about, and he, of course, is being either trained or they're testing, I guess, the limits of the demo dogs or the demigorgons. It's all Russian experimenty, is what I feel. Like so much is going on there.
Yeah, I'm curious to know like what the Russians' involvement is with the upside down world.
I do feel like there is some kind of connection. Like they've experimented and then, of course, created this upside down, right? That everyone.
I mean, I can see that. Whereas, like, obviously America. I mean, obviously since it is the '80s and it is the Cold War, there is like a competition between the United States and the Russia, pretty much everything. So it would make sense that there's a race or a competition to see who can like
innovate
or take over the other world and use it into like a weapon. Right?
That is kind of interesting.
I feel like that's what led to the creation of 11 in the first place. I know they talked a lot about it in season 3, right? She was a byproduct of an experiment to see if they could create supernatural powers to try to use to create super soldiers, right? That was the whole plan, but obviously that didn't go the way it wanted to. But then it's like, I guess people never really asked like, why would they even need to do that in the first place? And I guess it has probably a lot to do with like how the Cold War or the race between Russia and United States at the time to weaponize everything. So
there's a lot of different plot points going on, right, with the group. And then, of course, the external.
Yeah, there's the plot point of 11 and her powers. Like, I still don't know how they're going to get her powers back.
They said in an interview that we're going to actually see the other numbers. I do think in the trailer,
there's other numbers.
Yeah, there is other numbers.
Wait, no, there are other. That's right. There are. She did hang out with a bunch of misfits, right?
That was one episode, I think episode 6, where she did see her sister in the
that's right. They have powers too.
She had the ability to show you whatever you wanted to see. So
that's
I think
right. Okay, I forgot. I forgot that there were other numbers.
Yeah, there is going to be other numbers. So that's why there were flashbacks. I am not 100% sure, but in the trailer, it does look like there was an older 11. They shaved her head. There's an older 11, and then she pushes back a whole bunch of like soldiers. I don't know if that was a flashback or if that was her like regaining her powers, but
I thought that was a flashback. I thought that was a younger 11.
There was the younger 11, right, with the bloody eyes, and then of course the blood on her clothes with the other candidates that were in the testing rooms. Even like when I was watching a Fantastic Beasts last night, no spoilers. When I was watching the trailers, it's like, oh, are all these out of context? Are all these like sequenced, correctly? Because, for me, when we talked about this before, Jeremy, I thought that the demo dog was actually fighting Harper, but that may not be the case. You're like, that's not Harper. Where's Harper? And I was like, he's there. They cut
somewhere. He's somewhere.
Yeah, they cut the scene to show him. Here he is.
Yeah, maybe that's what they want you to think.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the trailer ends, of course, with the reveal again of Vecna. And when we watch Vecna, he's Ivan Ooze floating from the sky with all these, tentacles going out his body.
What he does look like is a crossbreed between a monster from Gantz and then the ultimate villain from Berserk.
I was thinking he looked like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers.
I mean, I don't see the comparison to Ivan Ooze, but okay.
but everybody knows who Ivan Ooze is. You know who Ivan Ooze is.
Does everybody know who Ivan Ooze is? Not really watch Power Rangers.
I guess if you were back in the
90s. If you were a Power Rangers fan back in the 90s, yeah, for
Who
sure.
wasn't a Power Rangers fan in the 90s?
A lot of people.
I've never looked up your character, the manga character that you're talking about.
Well, I'm just saying he looks like a monster that's straight out of from Gantz or from Berserk. which are like really, really, really old mangas, I guess.
I find it very interesting that Vecna is actually connected to all these tentacles, because when you look at the Upside Down actually has tentacles that show up throughout the landscape, right? And then you see that every time they're in the Upside Down, like a lot of the places have these tentacles wrapped around them, and I do believe the source is probably Vecna.
Oh, one thing I do want to see, or I'm hoping to see, is like the storyline continuation of Will.
That was, see, when I was watching season 1 and season 2, it was interesting how they singled him out, you know, and then of course brought him back together with the group. But when they singled him out, it was kind of neat. Like he was having this own internal struggle himself, you know.
Internal struggle? What do you mean?
Well, him dealing with the demon, and then nobody understanding, you know, what he was going through, and then of course,
oh yeah, because he was
him completely.
Well, because he was still inside of him.
The demon.
Yeah, I mean, it is still inside of him actually, even at the end of season 3.
It's so strange. What are all these things?
I don't know. That's what we got to figure out, right? For example, I think what they have to do is kind of give some backstory of like as to the other world in the first place. You know, why is it in that state in the first place? Why is it in that state? And who are these monsters, and why are they coming into our world?
Barb, Billy, rest in peace. No, Barb. You know, Barb was famous.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, okay, yeah, Barb. Let's bring back that old meme from season 1.
2016. Let's go back in time, guys.
God, that was 6 years ago.
That was so long ago. And
I know.
3 years of pandemic. The show does come out May 27.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be a really great show. Like I had mentioned before, that trailers normally don't excite me to kind of watch a movie or TV show, but this is actually one I was genuinely hyped to see, and I'm excited to see. Yeah, I was. I mean, from the beginning, I was like, oh shoot, they revealed a new big bad. Yeah, you know, and then all these, you know, conspiracies.
Man, if only you could feel this way for like every series that we watch.
That's actually true. If you guys want to see me and Jeremy debate over which TV shows I do want to watch and don't want to watch, we do have a segment called To Die Hard or Not to Die Hard, and we go over Arcane. And Jeremy almost kind of convinced me. You almost kind of convinced me.
What do you mean almost?
Oh yeah, actually, I guess you technically did, because I did end up watching the whole thing. So going back on topic though, I'm excited to see the show. I feel like I can't wait, you know, long enough. And then of course, it's gonna probably take a whole nother direction, I think, that none of us would probably expect.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, like I said, I don't know how this series is supposed to end or where it's going. It sounds like there's supposed to be like a big war coming.
Everyone dies.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones styles, right?
Right, big war, or it could be similar to Twilight, where they have a big war. I think, and then or Harry Potter, everyone has a big war. Everyone wants those big wars.
I didn't watch Twilight, but yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good. And that's all we got for you. We'll see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe, comment, let us know what you guys think and what to expect for Stranger Things season 4. And don't forget, it comes out on Netflix May 27th, and part 2 will come out July 1st. See you next time.